What's up, guys? It's Evie here. Welcome back to the Evil Evie channel, and today I will be doing my college football predictions. Today I will make my college football predictions, who I think will make it to the national championship and who I think will win the national championship. So, I hope you enjoy this video. If you end up liking this video, click subscribe and click like. So let's get into it. This video is simple. I will start all the way from 1 all the way to 12, basically explaining why I have that team there for each reasoning and explaining why I have them in the playoffs. And then I will also, after that, explain the two teams that I have barely missing out on the college football playoffs. And these are my predictions. These are my fucking predictions. So if you disagree, want to throw a fit, throw it in the comments. And we can argue about it because I truly believe I'm right. Even though at the end of the season, I'll look back at this and I'll look like an idiot. Because for some reason, the teams that I'm always high on always fail miserably. And the teams I'm low on end up succeeding expectations. So I'm hoping the teams that I'm high on and the teams that will make the playoffs make it. I don't know why I predicted last year to win the national championship, but I'm confident of my pick this year, and I hope it turns out well. Obviously, a little bit of a spoiler. I hope the team that I pick doesn't win it. Not that I hate the team that picks it. It's just that I hope my team wins it, and I'm not picking my team wins it, which is Alabama. But basically, 1 through 12. Then I'll break down every matchup and talk about the reasons why I got their matchups, and then I'll go all the way, break down my bracket, go all the way to the national championship, and explain the reasons behind why I have my national championship. Also explain the reasonings behind why I have the two teams barely missing out in the playoffs. There's some teams that you might not suspect being in the playoffs that I'm high on, that other people are low on, and teams that people are high on that I'm just low on. So let's get into it. Like I said, if you want to cry, complain, bitch, go in the comments and let's argue about it. But at the end of the day, like everybody's predictions, I'll probably look like a fucking dumbass at the end of the season, and they'll be totally wrong. And the team that I'm high on, that not many people are high, will be miserable and will fail badly, because that's always how it goes for me. But I'm hoping I can get this right. So, let's start off at number 1. Number 1 is Texas. I am incredibly high on Texas this year. I think with Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons, which Colin Simmons was one of the best freshmen last year, and I think when he comes to the draft, not this year, next year, is probably be one of the best edge rushers. So watch out for Colin Simmons. He's going to be one of the best. Anthony Hill, a dog, a beast, been great since his freshman year, and Malik Muhammad, their corners. I truly believe Texas will be the number 1 team at the end of the season. I believe, for me, I have their one loss coming at Oklahoma. I'm between Oklahoma or Florida, but I'll say the one loss that they lose to is Oklahoma. This Texas team is stacked from defense to offense, and Steve Sarkisian at some point has got to win the national championship. At some point. And I'm an Alabama fan, so I love Steve Sarkisian. Shout out that guy. Also, I'm high on Arch Manning. Arch Manning doesn't have to be this great quarterback that I expect him to be, but dude, I expect him to finish top 5 in the Heisman. I expect him to be this all-talented quarterback. I think he could be the number 1 quarterback in the draft next year. I think his talent, I believe in his talent. I love the way the person acts, even though that doesn't really have to matter. But I just love Arch Manning. I think he's going to be a great quarterback, and I enjoy what times we get to see him. I enjoy it. I mean, he's been fucking better than Quinn Ewers his past 2 seasons, but he's just sat his ass on the bench because Steve Sarkisian sometimes can't get over his ego, which I think kills him sometimes. But I think Quinn Ewers held this team back a lot last year. I think if Arch Manning was starting, they could have gone farther. The Ohio State team was probably better at the end of the day. Had the more, not better quarterback, but more safe. What? You know what? I guess Will Howard was better. I guess Quinn has more skill, but Will Howard was definitely the better quarterback. Got drafted higher. Just played the quarterback position way better and was able to help Ohio State, not playing hero ball all the time, which led to Ohio State winning the national championship. So, shout out Will Howard. But that's not the point. Texas, I am incredibly high on. I just believe in Arch Manning, man. I believe he will be that guy. I truly trust Arch Manning. And Steve Sarkisian, at some point, like I said, he's got to win it. He's got to win it. And I feel like this year the Texas Longhorns will win the SEC and be the number 1 team. I will tell you later on who they will beat, but I'm going with Texas as the number 1 team. I think they're the best roster. I think they got the best players. Anthony Hill, Colin Simons, defensive duo. If you don't know who Colin Simons is, watch out for him in the draft in 2 years. That guy is going to be a beast. I truly believe in Colin Simmons. That guy is insane. I do believe. Arch Manning, too. Oh, I forgot to mention Ryan Wingo. Ryan Wingo, freshman receiver last year, now sophomore. I believe that guy's talent is going to be immense. He's going to be getting the ball most of the time. They brought in a Stanford transfer, which I don't remember his name. Probably look it up later on, but I don't remember his name. Then they got one of the most underrated receivers, I think, DeAndre Moore. I think DeAndre Moore is one of the most underrated receivers in the league. And I think this guy is actually very good. And people don't want to give DeAndre Moore the credit. I mean, he was the second best receiver on that team last year in Texas, and nobody talks about it. I think a lot has to do with Quinn Ewers holding that team back. But, yeah, Texas is the number one fucking team in the country, and I believe they're the best team. They're the best team in the country. Probably makes a little bit of spoiler. You know what? Scratch it. But Texas, I believe, will finish as number one team. One loss. I'll say their one loss comes to Oklahoma. I think they beat Ohio State. And hot take, I think they destroy Ohio State week 1. I think they demolish Ohio State by week 1. But and at number 2 is Ohio State. People want to pick Penn State this year. That's cool. They got to beat Ohio State for me to prove. They got to beat Ohio State for me to prove it. Sorry. I just believe this Ohio State team will be good. I believe they'll start off weak with the big loss to Texas, but as the season goes by, I believe Julian Sayin will get better and better over time, and I believe this Ohio State team will win. I believe they're just a better roster than Oregon. I also believe they're better roster than Penn State. Like, Penn State has yet to beat Ohio State, and people want to put them over there. First of all, they play at Ohio State this year. I actually think Ohio State will beat them twice this year. I think Ohio State will have one loss, and I think they'll end the season with one loss. And that loss will be to Texas. Other than that, I actually think they beat Michigan this year. I think they finally beat Michigan this year. I think they finally get over that hump. I think Julian Sayin has potential to be a better quarterback than Will Howard. I think he has the better of the tangibles, but I think it will take time for him, and I think he'll grow over the season. I think Ohio State goes undefeated in the Big Ten, and I think they ultimately win the Big Ten. They beat Penn State twice, I think, because James Franklin hasn't been able to beat Ohio State. He beat him once in 2016, and that was it. That was it. I truly believe this Ohio State roster is good. They're going to reload because it's Ohio State. Maybe some years they'll have down years, but they're Ohio State, so they will reload. They still have Jeremiah Smith. They have the two best players in the country, Caleb Downs and Jeremiah Smith, right? They have a team I can trust. I can trust the Ohio State brand. I can't trust the Penn State brand. So I will take it shortly. I believe in this Ohio State team. I think this Ohio State team's good. I think they'll win the Big Ten. I think they're the best team. And at some point, Ryan Day has to win the Big Ten. I think it will finally be the year he wins the Big Ten. And Ohio State, only loss is to Texas. Now the prediction, Ohio State at number 2. They're going to reload. They're going to have a lot of good players. Devin Sanchez, freshman, shout out. Other than that, they have a lot of good players. And that's it. I just believe Ohio State is the team I want to trust the most. I trust Ryan Day the most out of those 3 coaches. And I would say I would trust Ryan Day out of those 3 coaches. And, Ohio State at number 2. Not really much to say about it. Just believe they'll be the second best team in the country. 3, I got Clemson. I think Clemson is probably easily top 5 most talented team. They also play in the ACC, which I think there's no other team competing with them. Maybe Miami. That's why I have them beating in the the ACC championship game. But, I mean, come on, man. Clemson has T.J. Parker, Peter Woods, their 2 receivers coming back, Cade Klubnik, and Dabo Swinney, which has proven he can win at the biggest levels. So I believe this team will finish 3rd in the rankings. I believe their only loss will come to LSU, which we will come to LSU soon. I believe Clemson is one of the best teams in college football. Easily top 5. Whatever you want to rank them. If you have number 1, number 2, number 3, doesn't matter. This team is easily going to win ACC. I don't see how you pick anyone else to win the ACC but Clemson. I think there's a couple games that could come up. They could lose Georgia Tech. They could lose to Louisville. They could lose at South Carolina. There's going to be a lot of tricky games. There's 4 potential losses on their schedule. LSU, Georgia Tech, Louisville, and South Carolina. But I believe they're good enough as a team to succeed. I think they're a good enough roster. I mean, one of the best rosters to succeed in college football this year. I genuinely believe they're one of the best teams. I think they'll do well this season. I think their season will go well. I think Clemson is obviously, just look at the roster. They're bringing back top 5 most production coming back from last year, and they finished the season strong. They played good against Texas last year. They played good enough, but Texas was just more talented that year. And I think Clemson is up there with teams like Texas, Ohio State, Penn State this year. I think they're more talented than some teams like Alabama, Oregon, a lot of other teams, and I truly believe this Cubs team I'm very high on, and I believe will be good. Outside of week 1, which I think they will lose, I think after that they will go on a streak and just win games and win the ACC, because I don't see anyone else. First of all, ACC's pretty shit, and second of all, they're the best team in the ACC. No counts about it. Barring any crazy circumstances crazy injuries. I trust Dabo. I trust Kate Klubnik. I think this team is one of the best teams in the nation with a lot of returning production, and I believe Clemson will be your number 3 team in the rankings. So now let's get to number 4. At number 4, I have LSU. I'm very high on Garrett Nussmeier. I'm very high on LSU this year. I love Aaron Anderson. I love Chris Hilton. Who's the other guy? Nick Anderson and Barry Brown, which I love Barry Brown. I'm very high on this team. I like the transfer portals that they brought in. Brian Kelly, is an iffy coach, right? But he's been to national championships before, right? He's won some big games. I believe Brian Kelly and that's LSU team, and I believe Garrett Nussmeier will win the Heisman, but I also believe that will be the team that loses to Texas in the SEC championship. I'm very high on LSU. I think they're going to do very good this year. I think they'll have 1 loss in the SEC, and I think that 1 loss will come to Alabama. But I think overall they're one of the best teams. I'm very high on LSU. And LSU is a team that some people are low on, some people are high on. You're either high on them, you're low on them, not really in the middle. And I've seen a lot of people low on them, not as high as I am on them. And LSU is one of the teams that I'm counting big on, that I think will exceed expectations for a lot of people. I think LSU is one of the best rosters. And like I said, the transfer portal, just what they brung in, the production, Peyton, that DN that they brought in. I really do like LSU this year, and I think LSU will be very, very good this year. And so I will have LSU as my team in the 4th spot. Now, let's get... And at number 5, I have Penn State. I'm trying to pronounce it. Penn State? Penn State? Okay, fuck it. I don't give a fuck how I pronounce it. I don't even know how to fucking pronounce Penn State. But Penn State. I'm more about pronouncing it. But who cares? Who cares about that weird child predator school? Penn State. James Franklin. I believe the returning production. I think they'll be good enough. I think they'll lose to Ohio State in the Big Ten championship. I definitely think they're the second best team in the Big Ten. But I just asked a lot of questions about James Franklin. I asked a lot of questions about Drew Aller. He hasn't really performed in big games other than what? The Oregon game? And yes, they have good transfer portal receivers coming in. Yet not really proven. I mean, one of the receivers proven. Other Hudson, we'll have to see what happens. They also brought another transfer receiver in. But I believe this transfer receiver core will help him out a lot. I believe they'll help Drew Aller a lot. But Drew Aller's got to prove he can win the big game. He's got to prove that he can play good in the big game. He played good against Oregon, but they lost that game because he ultimately threw an interception at the end of the game on the final drive. He cost them against Notre Dame. If he hadn't thrown those 2 picks, they probably would have beaten Notre Dame. But he threw those 2 picks. He could, and even Ohio State, he choked. And I know his receivers weren't that good. But losing Tyler Warren and Abdul Carter, 2 of your best players, I think they can replace them, but they're still harder players to replace. I know Penn State can replace Abdul Carter because they always have those types of players every year. But Tyler Warren's going to be hard. That guy was generational talent. He was pretty much all the whole offense. Not the whole offense, sorry, because they had Nick Singleton and Kai Trayala, which are coming back this year, which I believe they'll be good. But I look at Penn State and I'm just like, they got to prove it to me. I have them losing to Ohio State twice this season. I also have them, but I have them with 2 losses, obviously losing to Ohio State twice this season. 1 in the Big Ten Championship, 1 in the regular season. But they just have to prove to me that they can beat Ohio State. They got to. I think they'll beat Oregon. I think they're going to have to beat Oregon. I think if it was at Oregon, I would pick Oregon. But if it was at Penn State, which it is, I'm going to pick Penn State. So that's what will give me the edge for Penn State. I truly believe Penn State still has a good roster, a good team. But in order to be in that top echelon, they got to prove to me they can beat Ohio State, man. They got to prove it to me. They beat Boise State, and SMU. They beat no one to get to semifinals. No one. They got there easy. That didn't prove to me anything. And when they finally played a real opponent, what did Drew Aller do? He choked. Less about James Franklin, more about Drew Aller proving that he can step up in those biggest moments and win them the big games. So Penn State at my number 5. Number 6, I have Utah. I believe Kyle Whittingham will bring this team back. I believe in Devin Dampier, which was their issue. I think Utah's going to have a good defense. They had a good defense last year. I still think they'll have a good defense because Kyle Whittingham always has good defenses. Devin Dampier, I believe that guy will be very good. I believe in Devin Dampier. I believe he'll win Big 12 Player of the Year. I believe he'll be one of the best quarterbacks in college football. And I watch the guy and I truly believe in him. And that's as simple as that. I have him beating Arizona State in the Big 12 championship, but I'm just very high on Utah. They have, I don't know how to pronounce his name, even though I'm Polynesian and I don't know how to pronounce his name. They have that Utah offensive lineman. They're going to have a good defense this year. Simple as that. I have Utah my number 6. Devin Dampier, Kyle Whittingham, the offensive lineman that I cannot pronounce his name, and their defense. best team in the Big 12. I think they beat Arizona State. Hence, I think they only lose one game. And that's why I think Utah will finish at number 6 in the college football rankings. And at number 7, I got the Georgia Bulldogs. I just trust Kirby Smart. Some people don't have Georgia making the playoffs this year, which, yes, competition has got better, right? But Kirby Smart is just a coach I trust. I just trust him. I don't see a world where Georgia's not in it. Do they have tough opponents? Yes, but I just trust Kirby Smart so much that this team will make the playoff. Do I have questions about Gunnar Stockton? Yes, his ability to throw I have a lot of questions about. But I believe he will be good enough, and he will be good enough as a serviceable quarterback, as a, I forgot what they call it. But I think he'll be a serviceable enough quarterback where he can control the offense and the team is good enough. I think the only 2 losses this season will come to Texas and to Auburn this year. I just believe that this team, they could lose to Florida, which I have questions about, but I'm going to stick to they lose to Auburn and they lose to Texas this year. But Georgia, I'm still credit a good team. I think Kirby Smart will be able, I just trust Kirby Smart. Simple as that. I think that defense will be good every year like Kirby Smart has them. I think Gunnar Stockton will be serviceable enough to lead this team to where it wants to go. And I have Georgia at 6. Georgia at 7. And I believe this Georgia team will be good enough, like I repeated for the 5,000th time, because of Kirby Smart. Trust Kirby Smart. Just trust Kirby Smart. I'll keep on saying it. I don't know why people are down Georgia. Trust Kirby Smart. He's got the players. They got the talent. They bring in Zachariah Branch, which I think receiver was a huge issue for them this year, and I think they fixed it with Noah Thomas and Zachariah Branch. Watch this team explode. I just believe in them, man. I believe Gunnar Stockton to be serviceable enough. Love the additions they bring in. And like I said, for the 1,000th time, and I'll keep on saying it. Trust Kirby Smart. Just trust him. That's all I have. My 8th spot, Roll Tide. I have my team, Alabama. I'm going to break it down and make it simple. I believe Ty Simpson will be a good quarterback this year, good enough, and I believe he'll be definitely a strong quarterback that can win us some games. I believe he'll easily be an upgrade over Jalen Monroe, I think he just fits the Kalen Moore system. He's a better thrower of the ball, more accurate, and he's also a fast guy. I believe Kalen Moore will have a bounce back year. I still believe this guy's one of the top coaches in the nation. I believe this defense is going to be good. I believe LT Overton's going to have a great season. Tim Keenan, this pass rush. Yanze Pierre, watch out for him. I think he's going to have a great season. So with Keon Keeley, I love the secondary. I think it's the best part of our defense. More experience now. Damani Jackson, Xavier Brown. We even have Camp Calhoun, Dijon Lee. I believe this team will be good. I believe we have a lot of underrated pieces that haven't had to be able to show themselves, but I believe we have so much talent that this team will be good enough. Not too high on them, not too low on them, just right in the middle. But yeah, Ty Simpson, defense will be good. Kalen DeBoer, Ty Simpson, an upgrade in the system over Jalen Monroe. This team, my team, Alabama, will be number 8. And the only 2 teams I have to lose to is Georgia and South Carolina, because I did have to lose to Auburn, but I was like, you know what? Fuck Auburn. Roll Tide, Alabama at 8. 9th spot, I got Oregon. I believe Dante Moore will be a serviceable enough quarterback. They lost Evan Stewart, which sucks, but I believe the talent they bring in and the talent they have will be good enough. I think they'll have a little bit of a drop-off, losing to Penn State and Washington this year. I believe they'll at least lose 2 games, even if it's not those 2. I think they'll definitely lose Penn State, but I think they'll lose 2 games this season. I believe Oregon will be good enough. I like DeCorian Moore. I think, losing Evan Stewart sucks, but I think DeCorian Moore and I think the receiver core will be just good enough and will be fine. Dante Moore, like I said, will be serviceable. I trust Dan Lanning, and I like the way their schedule plays out because it's a pretty easy schedule. But I have I have Oregon at number 9 at my 9th spot. And at my number 10, I have Miami. And yes, I know I'm wearing different clothes. I forgot to record the Miami part on the day it was supposed to be recorded, so I forgot to record it. So now I'm recording the Miami part a little bit late. But at number 10, I have Miami. I think with the addition of Carson Beck, I think this team in Miami will still be very good. I like the additions to the roster. I don't think their defense will be as bad as last year, which makes me believe that Carson Beck will be good enough, and I think he'll be better than he was last year, because I think the bigger issue at Georgia last year, I think, was the receivers. They dropped a lot of passes. No doubt Carson Beck was definitely part of those issues, but I think the receivers were bigger issues. He's going to have better receivers there. I think he's going to have a better offensive coordinator, a better offensive that fits the QB. I think their defense will be better. So I think Miami will make the playoffs. I have one of the losses coming in the ACC and one of the losses coming to Florida. I still think Miami will be a good enough playoff team, and I think they'll make it. I think they'll go 10-2. I think they'll lose in the ACC championship, and I think Miami will be good enough. 10-3, 10-2, somewhere around there. But they're my number 10 team, and I think they will make the college football playoffs at my 10th spot. There it is. At number 10, Miami. And at number 12, I have Tulane. That's it. That's my group of 5 team in the playoff. And it's Tulane. I like John Summerall as a coach. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Don't know much else about Tulane. They lost Darren Mensah, which sucks. She was a very talented quarterback, but I believe enough in Tulane and John Summerall that they will be the group of 5 team that gets in. However, on the outside looking in, on Notre Dame, I think CJ Carr will be garbage. I really think this guy will be fucking garbage. I think the quarterback position will hold Notre Dame back a lot. I'm losing to Texas A&M. I'm losing to Miami, and I have them losing to Pitt or Arkansas, one of those 2 teams. I think they're a talented team, yeah. I just think CJ Carr is going to be fucking garbage. That's it. I just think he's going to be fucking garbage. I think the quarterback position is bad. It's taken so long for them to come up with who is the quarterback winner. Yeah, I believe that will hold them back. USC, I just believe they'll lose an extra game. I believe they'll lose to... Trying to think who they'll lose to, but I think I counted when I looked at the schedule. I just had 3 losses, but I think USC will be overall fine. I think they'll be good. I really like USC as a team, but I think they'll barely miss out on the playoffs at 93. I could see them winning that extra game and being ahead of Texas A&M, but USC and Notre Dame are the 2 teams I'm barely missing it out. Try to go as quick as I can with these playoff predictions that I have here. Now into my bracket. I have Penn State beating Tulane in the first round. I have Texas A&M upsetting Utah in the first round. I have Miami. I have my Georgia-Miami, which would be an interesting, cool game in Georgia. Carson Beck goes back to Georgia. I would love that. That would be interesting. Give me Georgia, because they're obviously a better team. And then I have Alabama beating Oregon, which, if Alabama beat Oregon, it'd be the best thing, dude. The amount of trash talk would be beautiful. I have Alabama. And now, let's go on to the next. On to my second round of my predictions. I have Alabama playing Texas. I have Ohio State playing Georgia. I have Clemson playing Texas A&M, and I have LSU playing Penn State. And with that, I have LSU beating Penn State, because like I said, Drew Allen's going to have to prove it to me. I have Clemson taking out Texas A&M. I have I have Georgia taking out Ohio State in an upset, and I have Texas beating Alabama, which then leads to Texas playing LSU in a rematch of the SEC Championship, and then Clemson playing Georgia. And I have Clemson beating Georgia and Texas beating LSU in another rematch, which ultimately means I have Texas and Clemson in the national championship. And drum roll, please. You can't hear it. Just drum roll with your fingers, because I don't want to do it because I'm lazy. Texas beats Clemson in the Natty. Arch Manning. Heisman prediction is I have Garrett Nussmeier winning the Heisman. I have Garrett Nussmeier winning the Heisman, because I think he'll have the best stats. But I believe Texas will win the national championship. And MVP performance will go to Ryan Wingo. It will go to Ryan Wingo. He will win the performance. Probably won't go as the way I predicted it. But Texas wins the national championship. And Arch Manning lifts the national championship trophy. And Steve Sarkisian finally gets it done. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love to do this for fun. This is pretty much what I do it for. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you can click like, and I hope you can I hope you can click like and subscribe. I'm not editing that because I don't care that much. I care if the video does well. I do want the video to do well. Don't get wrong about that. But I think this video was good enough. Could improve. Could get better. On to the next. But I have Texas beating Clemson in the Natty. Ryan Wingo getting the MVP of the national championship. Garrett Nussmeier winning the MVP. And Steve finally getting it done. See y'all in the next video. Goodbye.